California Chrome's finish in Belmont Stakes Saturday didn't have the magical Triple Crown ending many were hoping for. But people are still talking about the race, mostly because of controversial remarks made by one of California Chrome's owners. Joe Harper, president and CEO of the Del Mar Thoroughbred Club, is here to talk about the race and its aftermath. Joe, you watched the race. You know California Chrome's story. Who were you rooting for?
I was screaming my head off for California Chrome. I know the trainer has been a 50-year friend of mine and actually trained some horses for me. And the California breeding industry certainly could use a shot. But it's a tough 3 races, and I think it just took its toll.
As you know, California Chrome's co-owner Steve Coburn made some remarks after the race. He said basically that it wasn't fair that Tonalist, who won the race, was allowed to compete in that race even though he hadn't raced in Preakness and the Kentucky Derby. Was there any merit to his comments?
Well, I think it's certainly something that's been talked about in the industry for some time, mainly because it's been so long since there's been a Triple Crown winner. But I think these races have to stand on them by themselves. There are 3 races for 3-year-olds, and a long time ago somebody said, if you win all 3, you win a Triple Crown. So it's not like you have to compete in all of them. You probably shouldn't. If you change the game at this stage, do you take away something from the great horses that have won the Triple Crown? Affirmed and Seattle Slew, Secretariat, probably the greatest horse of all times. I think it's very difficult to change it without changing history a little bit. So while I can certainly understand the argument, I don't agree that it should be changed. I think if anything, you could probably maybe take the Kentucky Derby and make it fewer horses. There are 20 horses in the Kentucky Derby is tough to do, and it takes a lot out of some horses that are in there. So you don't always get the best horse winning the Kentucky Derby. You get kind of the luckiest, and so it probably would be a little more realistic as finding the best horse in all 3 races if that happened.
California Chrome was bred for $10,000. Has that shaken the perception that winning horses should come from a high pedigree and have wealthy owners?
Well, I guess everybody's concerned about the pedigree except the horse. I think he's just happy he got bred. So I think when you take a horse like California Chrome, it's surprising that they do that well. But there's been cases in the past. John Henry, for instance, is one of the best horses of all times. Raced all the way until he was 8 years old. His daddy was a horse called Old Bob Bowers, who I don't think did anything and never bred much of anything else. So it can be done, and I think this is, sort of it shines a little light on the California breeding program that maybe people that don't think they can win a big race unless they spend a lot of money on will have a second thought and come out and breed some more horses here in California.
Now, California Chrome is expected to appear at Del Mar in August. How significant will that be for the horse and its owners?
Well, we're hoping that's what happens. With horses, you just can't say where he's going to start next. I think this horse, those 3 races are very difficult, and he's, although come out of them looking pretty well, all of them, I think he deserves a rest, and I know that Art Sherman, the trainer, will make the decision based on what's best for the horse, not what's best for Del Mar's attendance. So we're hopefully that it fits into his plans. He's injured now slightly in the last race. By the time he heals that up, depending on when that happens, he could very well come to our $1 million race in the 3rd week in August. And it would lead into the Breeders' Cup, which is really where he's headed now, is the Breeders' Cup races at Santa Anita in early November, late October.
So briefly, Art Sherman, the trainer. He's from Rancho Bernardo. What can you tell us about his career? Well,
Art's a great guy. He's trained horses for me. He's just he's one of those kind of thinking. When I met him, he was a jockey, and this goes back 50 years. But he was a thinking jockey. He just was smarter than your average guy. And because Art never really got some great horses to ride, although he exercise swaps way back a million years ago. But and I was delighted when Art retired as a jockey that he became a trainer. And he's had success at being a trainer. You know, never up there with the Bafferts and those kind of people, but he's always been, he knows his horses, and he understands horses, I think, better than most trainers do.
And we're going to close it there. Joe Harper, thanks so much for coming on the program.
Thank you.